Okay, thank you. I think we're live now. So hello, everyone. Welcome to the state of digital adoption in Canada's advanced manufacturing sector. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from. Please feel free to share your location in the chat so we know if you're coming from west or east, just curious. And as you do that, I'd like to mention a few housekeeping items. So we're currently testing Zoom's automatic translation captioning feature. So thank you in advance for your patience as we try this new tool, first of all. So this webinar is presented in English with AI-supported translated captions. And to enable translated captions, click Show Captions in the bottom toolbar or access it through the three dots menu. Then click on the up arrow next to the Show Captions icon, turn translation on, set your speaking language to English, and choose your preferred caption language. The step-by-step instructions have also been posted in the chat in both English and French. Okay, so I think it's a good time to introduce myself. My name is Marina Ivus. I'm located in Ottawa, Ontario, and I'm a manager of economics at the Information and Communications Technology Council, or ICTC, and I will be your MC for today. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the land on which we live and work. We're living on Turtle Island, the land colonized as North America. This land is shared by thousands of First Nation tribes who have been here from time immemorial. We would also like to acknowledge the Métis and Inuit people as well, and ask that we move forward together, acknowledging the truths of the past and repairing those relationships in order to walk side by side into the future. Today, gathered in this digital space, we invite you to take a moment to reflect on the traditional, ancestral, unceded Inuit, Métis, and First Nation territories on which you are settled. Okay, this webinar is live and it's meant to be interactive. So I encourage you to use the chat and to ask questions. At the end of the panel, at the end of this webinar, we'll have time for Q&A. To ensure the discussion is a great experience for everyone, please keep messages positive and constructive. We're here all to learn together, so let's lift each other up. Please stay on topic, share thoughts and questions to today's session. Please be respectful. Diverse viewpoints are welcome, but remember, there is a real person on the other side of every comment. And finally, no self-promotion, please. Save links and pitches for after the session. And the last thing that I'd like to mention, when the webinar ends, there will be a short survey for you to submit additional questions and feedback. This session is being recorded and we will share this presentation in follow-up. Okay, and now I'm pleased to introduce ICTC's new Director of Research and Policy, Sylvain Cotta, to provide opening remarks on behalf of ICTC and speak to this important collaboration with NGen Canada over the past year. Over to you, Sylvain. Oh, you're still muted, Sylvain.
Okay. I apologize. Thank you, Marina. Welcome, everyone. I'm pleased to be joining you today. If you're not familiar with ICTC, it stands for the Information and Communication Technology Council. We are a neutral, not-for-profit national center of expertise with the mission of strengthening Canada's digital advantage in the global economy. We have been in existence for now, just over 30 years. And to achieve our mission, we have delivered forward-looking research, practical policy advice, and capacity-building solutions for individual and also businesses. Our goal is twofold, which is to ensure that technology is utilized to drive economic growth and innovation, and that Canada's workforce remains competitive on a global scale. Hence, it's building in domain skills and forming a policy or supporting digital adoption. We seek to ensure that Canada remains competitive, inclusive, and resilient in the digital age. This brings us to today's webinar, emerging digital technologies, including AI, digital twin sensors, and Internet of Things, have the potential to greatly disrupt the manufacturing sector. A lot of research have shown this, and newspapers and other media also talks about this. So it's an issue that has come to the forefront. But at the same time, we see that it can unlock significant value and opportunities for forward-looking Canadian manufacturing firms. However, despite all the noise and ICT's research has found that the adoption is still lagging. We find that only about 23% of Canadian manufacturers surveyed by ICTC have enjoyed fully successful digital technology implementation initiative in the past 5 years. Eric will talk a bit more about this later during this webinar. And this result actually is consistent with international research, which I found similar degrees of digital adoption. So this is not only true in Canada; it's also true in other parts of the world. Moreover, among the common obstacles encountered by manufacturers, we find that high purchase cost, market uncertainty, and uncertain economic returns are among the most common obstacles. Recruiting also, developing and retaining a skilled manufacturing digital technology workforce. Those are other challenges identified also by the Canadian manufacturer. So to help mitigate these issues, ICTC has been pleased over the past year to collaborate with Next Generation Manufacturing Canada, NGen, to develop a series of digital technology adoption roadmaps for 5 Canadian advanced manufacturing industries. And those industries are automotive, aerospace, biomanufacturing, fabricated metal products, and food and beverages. These roadmaps detail practical steps and business considerations for Canadian advanced manufacturing firms, particularly small and medium-sized enterprises interested in adopting advanced digital technologies. As our research will show, it's not just about developing technical capacity to implement digital technology in manufacturing, but getting the use cases, business and strategy consideration, as well as the change management and human factors correct to achieve the best results. I look forward to hearing more about the research findings and listening in on the discussion. So I'll turn back to Marina to take us forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that context, Sylvain. Quickly look at the chat. I had a quick look, and I see people are joining us from Calgary, from Winnipeg, Manitoba, from Ottawa, from Kemptville, Ontario, so all over the place. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining. Okay, and now I get to introduce our next speaker, NGen's Director of Workforce Development Programs, Peter Wawro, who will share a little bit about NGen and their involvement in this research project. Over to you, Peter.
Thank you, Marina. There you go, slide. Thank you for everyone for joining today. For those not familiar with NGen, NGen is an industry-led, not-for-profit corporation leading Canada's advanced manufacturing global innovation cluster. We are one of 5 national networks supported by Canada's ambitious Global Innovation Clusters Initiative. NGen's mandate is to build world-leading advanced manufacturing capabilities in Canada. While we don't physically build things, we enable the successful development, scale-up, and deployment of advanced technologies in Canadian manufacturing. We do this by a number of initiatives. One is we promote Canadian capabilities. We know that there are several, if not dozens and hundreds of great Canadian success stories in manufacturing, and we want to tell the world about them. We make connections. We believe that relationships are extremely important in building Canada's manufacturing capabilities. And these connections can be between suppliers and OEMs, between industry and academia, between manufacturers and industry providers. We also fund collaborative innovation. The funds go directly to the manufacturing industry, and that helps support their capabilities in building those capabilities. We support workforce development. We believe that a highly skilled workforce is critical to develop manufacturing capabilities in Canada. And our goal is to modernize Canada's manufacturing footprint. And that's really why we're here today, is to discuss the transformation of digital technologies. NGen is founded on the principle of that digital transformation in advanced manufacturing will enrich the lives of Canadians, delivering better products and good jobs while generating the economic growth essential to a better future. Digital transformation has been shown to increase productivity, enhance product quality, and this results in improved profitability. Today's talk will discuss digital transformation. It will go through the status of tech adoption in manufacturing, the barriers to that adoption, and the development of roadmaps to adopt those technologies. Our hope today is that this study and the series of roadmaps can act as a helpful first step for Canadian manufacturers. Thank you, and back to you, Marina.
Thank you so much, Peter. And this is really exciting collaboration with NGen. Now it's time to introduce our next speaker, and it's time to introduce you to the research. Eric Heminswell, a senior research and policy analyst at ICTC, will walk us through the research findings. Eric, over to you.
Thank you so much, Marina. And just looking in the chat, it looks like folks from throughout Canada are on, from Alberta and Ontario and Winnipeg. And also see some familiar faces or familiar names people who are involved in some of the research as we engage with our industry stakeholders. So just thank everyone. I won't name names, but I'll thank everyone who is involved in this research, as well as everyone who's gathered here today for this webinar. We're really excited to share some of our findings, but most importantly, launching into a Q&A and discussion of what this might mean for Canadian manufacturing with everyone today. So to start, oh, is it working? Oh, there it goes. Okay, so to start, this collaboration with NGen and ICTC, the intention behind it was to help advance digital technology adoption in Canada's advanced manufacturing sector. So the outputs of this project has been 5 digital technology adoption roadmaps, industry specific for 5 sectors we studied, an overarching final report on the overall state of digital technology adoption and digital transformation in Canadian manufacturing. And the roadmaps have been crafted in consultation with Canadian industry. They're based on real-world applications of digital transformation in Canadian manufacturing sector. And we've strived to make them as practical as possible. So you'll get real world empirical data on what's going on out there throughout Canada in these industries, as well as we've provided tools to help folks adopt some of these learnings into their own operations, making it just as practical and applicable as possible. Okay, and the 5 industries we covered in this roadmap series were automotive and automotive parts manufacturing, aerospace manufacturing, biomanufacturing, fabricated metal products manufacturing. So think like things like machine shops and metal fab facilities, as well as food and beverage. And we chose these industries due to their prominence in the Canadian economy, as well as their current and potential for further digital transformation and further digitization. So for things like automotive, aerospace manufacturing, which we found to be in quite advanced states in some cases of in their digital transformation journeys. Others, like food and beverage and metal products, have a lot of potential ahead of them. And included with each roadmap is an industry-specific case study. including what real Canadian companies are doing today on the ground, a technology use case matrix adapted for each of the 5 industries. So use cases for each of the digital technologies we cover in the roadmaps. Framework to understand ROI and financial considerations. A change management checklist and risk management register for digital transformation. Notes on training and workforce development, including how companies are actually doing it in Canada today. Strategic partnership considerations, and finally, a call to action. And why these roadmaps are needed, I think we found that Canadian manufacturers face low rates of tech adoption and integration into digital technologies. Manufacturing productivity, labor productivity lags other parts of the Canadian economy over the years. And Canadian manufacturing firms reported difficulties in implementing new technologies into their operation. It's never straightforward. And lower rates of digital technology adoption across critical manufacturing industries in the long term degrade Canada's national competitiveness, which is something I think in the last year everyone's become very cognizant of. So on the question of where we that claim that productivity is falling, this is a chart of Canadian manufacturing labor productivity when compared to other parts of the Canadian private sector, so goods producing sectors as well as service producing sectors since the year 2000. And you can see, going back, labor productivity in manufacturing outpaced other parts of the Canadian economy. But today and most recently, you're seeing a lag. And perhaps one way to increase that productivity is to increase CapEx spending on digital technologies, as well as get the most from workforce through training on these digital technologies. And then when we look at individual manufacturers from that individual firm perspective, in our survey of industry, Canadian manufacturers reported encountering difficulties implementing new technologies. So in the survey, we found that respondents reported that only 23% of their tech implementations were fully successful. And maybe what's more concerning is 21% of our respondents made no attempt in the past 5 years to adopt digital technology into their operations. And you can see in the long term that would have some implications for their workforce productivity and Canadian productivity as a whole when we take all that into account. And then furthermore, when we look at the implementation stages of Canadian manufacturers, with stage one being tech being employed, but across isolated applications and maybe only being partially networked, to the most intensive digital technology adoption, where tech is integrated, embedded with sensors, and used in autonomous decision making. The majority of Canadian firms, 50%, are in stage one. And when we look at the other firms are in stage two and stage three. So stage two being the tech is interconnected, but maybe the data is only being used ad hocly, informally to base decisions on. Where stage three is data is interconnected with sensors and data is collected and systematically analyzed. But the top stages for implementation, stage 4 and stage 5, where data you start seeing it being used to predictively to understand disruptions and do autonomous operations. Very few manufacturing firms in Canada, only the most are advanced, are involved in that. So there's a long way to go. So that brings us to our webinar poll we'll do to keep this all interactive. So we're curious, when you consider your own firm, what part of the 5 stages are you in? And we have a little blurb definition for each of the 5, and I'll leave that poll open for about 30 seconds so people can consider and be really fascinated to see the results. And if you're not sure, or if you just want to see the results, those are two options at the bottom as well. So, and maybe we'll just give a few more seconds for people to vote, and we'll close the poll and see where we're all at within this webinar. We'll just give a few more seconds. All right, we should get the results. Okay. Yeah, so like the survey suggests, amazing how that works. So a lot of folks are in stage one right now, with also in stage two or three, but there are a few people or one group in stage five, and as well as significant amounts of people who are not really sure, or maybe it's not applicable. So thanks for that. I hope that was interesting. So just moving on. And when we look at some of the top obstacles for adoption of digital technologies in Canadian manufacturing across the five sectors we studied, some of the top reasons for encountering obstacles are the high purchase costs, the market uncertainty. That was particularly true with things like automotive, where they're not sure sort of where they'll be at in the next few years. And integration in the North American industry. Uncertain economic returns, unclear how the new tech will fit into their operations, and then integration with legacy systems and process. And we heard a lot of that, especially from food and beverage, where some of these operations have been in operation for decades, and often they'll have machinery from decades ago that was never designed for things like sensors or digital connectivity. So it's a major challenge to figure out how to get all of these different machinery and systems talking. And when we asked our survey respondents about technologies they have no current plans to adopt, um, major opportunities, including things like robotics, artificial intelligence, and particularly digital twins. Significant numbers, 23, 35, 25% of manufacturer respondents said they have no interest or plans right now in adopting them. What's more, even things like basic digital infrastructure, sort of technologies that you would need to implement to get the most of these more advanced applications such as AI or digital twin, things like big data, cloud computing, um, Internet of Things. There are still significant numbers of manufacturers who have no interest in adopting, though most of them do have some interest or plans to adopt in the future, so which is very encouraging. Things that Canadian manufacturers adopt at high rates are things like cybersecurity programs and cloud computing, which, if from an international even perspective, we're pretty comparable for other advanced economies. So in terms of the digital technologies we actually cover in the roadmap, they include industrial robots and automation, Internet of Things sensors, cloud computing, including things like cloud storage or MES or ERP systems, big data analytics and digital twins, artificial intelligence, and then cybersecurity. And we found it useful as we engage with manufacturers that to think about it, how these systems or technologies might interact in layers. So, for example, having a factory floor production layer where you have deploy things like industrial robots and automation technology, as well as the sensors that are going to gather data to feed into your digital systems, and then having that digital infrastructure connectivity layer for cloud computing was important. And then powering that and giving that data and hosting that analytical layer and having software and applications to do big data analytics and produce digital twins for your business. And then on a control layer, though few manufacturers are really here yet, having an artificial intelligence. And then from a risk management perspective, having the cybersecurity, both from an information technology standpoint as well as an operational technology. So the actual production equipment and machinery, having that defended from cybersecurity incidents as well. So for industrial robots and automation, these are actually, pretty common in Canadian manufacturing, particularly in the automotive sector. But we're seeing more and more Canadian manufacturers adopt advanced robotics, things like cobots or autonomous mobile robots, as they become more common. Uh, Cobots were very popular across the industry, and lots of people are interested in them. They're great. We heard that they can be very good for small and medium enterprises. They can be expensive, but they are very flexible and require less training than a full industrial robot system. And you also heard from particular automotive and parts manufacturers, some of the larger ones, that they're experimenting with quadrupedal robots, or i.e. robo-dogs, to do roving facilities inspectors, so gathering data on plant state. And autonomous mobile robots, or AMR, I know someone asked that question about what the state of those technology is in the registration questions. Were being used particularly in very large facilities to move equipment or especially materials around. Smaller groups, SMEs, they typically couldn't find a use case for them, just due to the facilities being a bit smaller. Internet of Things and sensors being critical for gathering data to make the rest of your tech stack work. And that can include things like temperature and heat and pressure and that sort of thing, but also machine vision cameras, which are essential for running robotics or enabling AI to do things like picking parts or automating quality control. Uh, and then on the analytical layer, big data analytics. Um, Really useful for help make informed decision making, powering data dashboards, performing root cause analysis of to find why issues are taking place in production lines, and also to form the basis for training of AI models. So one metals firm we talked to, they're very advanced in their analytics, and they used it. One of the things they used it they found very useful is to power individualized dashboards for everyone in their company, including people working on the production floors, production staffing, knowing exactly what's going on in their part of the process, and so they can make better decisions and foresee issues throughout their shift. Digital twins proved to be the least understood of the digital technologies we studied in the roadmaps, and they were the least adopted by manufacturers in Canada at present. Along with AI, they are also require a significant amount of supporting use infrastructure to get the most out of. So they prove to be very challenging, even for larger companies to implement to their full extent. That being said, we heard from automotive manufacturers as well as food and beverage manufacturers reported using digital twins to model production line layouts, to try out new equipment configurations, and optimize things before they ever shut down or started to physically move machinery. So that's sort of a quick win case for digital twins. And in aerospace manufacturing, product digital twins are common for design and collaboration of complex aerospace parts, as well as walking clients or customers through what their purchase, different purchases and different purchase options and different design options for aerospace. Artificial intelligence, it's still very much an experiment. I'd say it goes from a spectrum of very basic use cases. So everything is we use Cobot and ChatGPT to write our emails and help us with our social media marketing, to beginning to experiment with enabling full automation and working to maybe lights out manufacturing one day with AI. So a pretty far different spectrum of companies that are experimenting and to what extent they're comfortable with. And then cybersecurity, obviously very essential, very well adopted. But the different industries, it was interesting to see that they have different needs out of it. So one biomanufacturing firm we spoke to, it was protecting sensitive patient data as well as their R&D and IP from advanced threats, including threats from foreign governments that want valuable research, biomedical research. And for things like automotive manufacturing, it was keeping their operational technology locked down. Their nightmare scenario would be having to stop production in a just-in-time environment where, millions of dollars, per hour on the line is in production, and losing that for hours or days or potentially even weeks would be devastating. So different threats and different, I guess, crown jewels that these companies are trying to protect with good cybersecurity. So when it comes to return on investment, manufacturers we engage with stress the benefits that could be found in a number of areas. So while profitability and cost savings are important, it wasn't just about improving output or saving money. And so for the roadmaps, we developed an ROI framework with example metrics classified across 7 different benefits. So operational efficiencies, such as reducing materials wastage or time wastage, workforce productivity, so improving the output of individual workers and again, dealing with the manufacturing industries, declining workforce productivity, capital productivity, such as reducing equipment downtime, market access, including increasing customer and client retention and entering new markets, innovation, so things like reducing new product development time or time to market, and reducing the time to iterate new product improvements. Health and safety, such as reducing lost time incidents, and ESG measures, such as reducing carbon footprint or energy use. So, for example, one of the tier 1 automotive parts manufacturer we talked to, one of the major benefits they found adopting cobot cells in their sanding process was improvements in health and safety. So rather than having a worker sand metal parts all day, every day, for weeks and months and years, they could have a worker supervise a cobot cell, creating less human exposure to dust, noise, and vibration over the years. For some manufacturers in aerospace and automotive parts with larger supply, which supply larger OEMs, often adopting digital technologies into their processes increased market access, as having digital capabilities such as a cloud ERP allowed them to better coordinate with customers and integrate into supply chains. And often digital technology requirements such as cybersecurity standards like ISO 27001 or the Canadian Program for Cybersecurity Certification are essential to bid on and win RFPs. And then manufacturers we engage with also reported building business cases, assessing ROIs using formal methods such as financial analysis, as well, especially for smaller groups, being less formal, such as informal benchmarking. And I think as long as the decision gets made, both methods are okay. SME, it's harder for SMEs to develop ROIs, so sometimes maybe less heavy lifting is important just to get on with the process of technology adoption. When it comes to did the digital workforce engaged in digital transformation, most companies had significant numbers of companies. Their workforce was 10% or less of the workforce was engaged in digital transformation. And this was particularly true for food and beverage, which had fewer workers. But skilled workers are required to both implement and operate new digital technologies being adopted by these manufacturing firms. And building a digitally skilled workforce can be challenging. We're in a moment also when the need for digital technology workers, technicians, technologists, engineers that are involved in implementing and supporting the digital technology infrastructure. They're in high demand in adjacent sectors outside of manufacturing, so things like natural resources or infrastructure. So, their skills are sought after. And then when it comes to the human factors for digital technology, such as recruiting digitally skilled talent, training the manufacturing workforce, and the Canadian firms reported wanting to be innovative in the forward-looking, but sometimes they didn't have the critical planning pieces in place to effectively adopt digital technology. So, for example, only 45% of manufacturing respondents reported to having a comprehensive digital technology adoption strategy. And without that strategy, you don't. If you don't know where you're going, you're never going to get there. And it gets way harder to adopt those stacks you need over to build those tech stacks out over years. 40%, 46% reporting a strong culture of change, aligning digital strategy with actions. And then 33% reported having a staff training plan to help new digital technologies. So less than half across the board. So that survey data suggests that many Canadian manufacturers, even when they are able to get the technical use cases and financial considerations right for adopting digital technology, they may struggle with implementing due to corporate culture, managing change, and the workforce training. And they won't be able to get the most out of digital tech without addressing those human elements. So strategic partnerships are also critical. When we engaged, partnerships can help things like joint tech pilot programs, training and mentoring, providing talent and tech incubation. And for the verticals we found was firms' customers, firms' vendors and suppliers, as well as industry associations and supporting ecosystem groups, and as well as post-secondary institutions, especially for things like joint R&D or providing new workers and digitally skilled workers to enter the industry. So one company in the aerospace sector we talked to, a large OEM, told us how they're actually providing technology and expertise to a number of their own suppliers to help them move forward with installed digital transformation projects and ultimately make that OEM's supply chain more productive. And a large tier one parts supplier we interviewed was in the process of setting up a tech incubator to help their own industry partners, startups, and local post-secondaries to develop new digital technologies for automotive manufacturing. So while Canadian manufacturers compete fiercely in a globalized marketplace, they also cooperate strategically and especially across supply chains. So just to give some best practices before we move into the Q&A, all of this data we have broken down into industry segments for the 5 industries. So if you want a more detailed look at what your industry is doing, it'll all be in the roadmaps in the final report. But in terms of best practices, based on the conversations we had with the Canadian manufacturers, we recommend map your current process and digital capabilities to get a baseline, link digital technology adoption to specific use cases and an ROI framework, phase adoption of digital technologies and utilize pilot projects, start small, figure out what works and scale, involve technical and production staff early on and offer training, analyze and manage risk as well as organizational change, and create strategic partnerships. Canadian manufacturers do not need to do this alone. So with that, the roadmaps will be released later this month, and everyone that participated in the webinar today will make sure to email you a copy. So we'll have the 5 roadmaps for the different sectors we covered, as well as an overarching report on Canadian manufacturing in general. And we've left a QR link here to ICTC's website where you can find other reports we've done in the past. So with that, thank you so much, and I'm going to pass it back to Marina, who will be moderating a short panel and Q&A session. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for those insights, Eric. It's so valuable to see the current data and the survey results to understand what is really happening in the manufacturing industry. And now to explore this research on a deeper level and how we can put this data and these insights into practice, we want to open things up for a Q&A. So joining us for this segment of the webinar is Christy Michalak, NGen's Director of Manufacturing Development Programs. Welcome, Christy. So if you have any questions for Christy, Peter, or Eric, please add them to the chat. A few questions were already submitted during registration, so I appreciate those questions, and I hope we can cover them all. I see there is already a few questions in the chat, so I suggest we probably should start from those. But before we actually move to the chat, there was one question submitted from Tyler Ottenhoff, who was an interviewee as part of this research project. And Tyler asked, he submitted this question through the registration: what was the most interesting learning or takeaway throughout this project? So I guess, Eric, you are the best one to answer this question. And then after this one, we'll move to the chat. Over to you, Eric.
Yeah, thank you so much, Marina, and thank you for your question, Tyler. For me, I'm a risk management and cybersecurity nerd, so I found just how companies, the risk culture, different companies in different industries have, how they perceive risk, and particularly what they're trying to protect with their cybersecurity program and how far they're willing to go. Was really fascinating for me.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, we have a few comments and a few questions. So I guess I'll start with the comments. I'll just read it out loud so everyone can, in case someone didn't see it. So Sheldon commented, I guess it's on digital advanced manufacturing and digital adoption. Would love to be stage 4 at least. Challenges, budget, and lack of staff experts to implement, execute with actionable results, and to ensure it's all sustained, which resonates with the findings of this research project. Moving to the next question from within the state of digital adoption in Canada, what is the state of foundational improvements in preparation for AI adoption, such as organization of data? I'm not sure if research covered specifically this question, Eric, if you have any insight, and Peter or Christy, if you have any insights, feel free to add.
Yeah, one of the big steps to things like being able to customize or train AI models, or stop adopting things like AI or digital twins into operations is like having organized and relatively clean data. So that's a major first step. Companies found it very challenging, particularly small ones, maybe for capacity or budget regions. Larger ones, just the sheer amount of data they'd be producing, as well as needing to integrate it all together, often with legacy systems, is super challenging.
And I would add, anecdotally, from traveling across the country and visiting manufacturers, the adoption is really low. The foundational supports are also not strongly in place consistently across the country, let me say. So if we just add AI on top of data chaos, then we just make the chaos bigger and faster. So we really like to encourage companies to take a look at their lean practices, really understand the business really deeply. So look at your tech times or your process times. Look at your unexpected downtimes, look at your waste, look at Six Sigma generally across the factory, and really understand where the issues are before you decide the technology to layer on top. And it might be AI, it might be a sensor strategy and add AI and get some benefits, but it also might point you to other things. So it's really important. That was a really great question from V in the chat. Thank you.
And if I could add just really quickly, that is the most important thing in order to get to AI is having that data, having the data in a consistent format, having it in a format that we can actually do something with it. So we're not alone. I think internationally, they struggle with the same thing. We might be a little more behind, but ultimately, that is the most important thing that we need to do is get that fundamental data so that we can then move into the AI models.
Thank you so much, Eric, Christy, and Peter. Moving to the next question. Next question from Denise. Is government looking at a grant to support manufacturing companies to plan their digital strategy? And I guess, Christy, you are the best one to answer this one.
So I'm going to answer saying I hope so, but we don't have real visibility into any of the programs the government is creating. At NGen, we try to help companies to bring together partnerships, to make connections with technology providers, for example, to find the right solutions. So at least even if we don't have funding to support a direct project, we have other programs that enable that conversation to start. So that's the only answer we can give today.
Thank you so much, Christy. Okay, moving to the next question. Lots of questions. Thank you so much for being so active. How do DX, I guess it's digital transformation, technology providers identify, connect with companies that are either considering or should be considering pilots or modernization projects? I guess it's over to you, Christy, as well. I'm not sure if you wanted to add to it, Eric or Peter.
Sure. So I touched on our programming, our networking events, but we're trying to make those connections. We're also looking at creating a tool for companies so they can join our membership. They can advertise their capabilities or advertise what they're looking for, and we can do that connection in the background. So more about that will be coming. Right now, I just say join our membership. It's free, and there's an NGen plug. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Next question is from Mike. As Europe moves from Industry 4.0 to Industry 5.0 and following the ICTC recent survey, where would you rate Canada's manufacturing sector? And I'm interested in both perspectives. Eric, from your research perspective and the data that we uncovered, as well as Christy's and Peter's, your perspective.
I can start. So NGen did a study not too long ago where we looked at, the state of digital tech adoption in Canada compared to international jurisdictions. And while overall we are behind, it's not that far. I think I mentioned earlier that there are challenges with respect to just having the right amount or the right types of data in order to get to that point. And that's really where it starts. The biggest differences between Canada and other jurisdictions is that other jurisdictions have had a head start in terms of developing a strategy around technology adoption or even just an industrial strategy, whereas Canada is a little behind on that. But now with the new defense industrial strategy, that hopefully we can catch up. But I think at this point, to sum up, while we're behind a little bit, I think there's a lot of opportunity to catch up and even surpass some other jurisdictions if we do this right.
I would agree, Peter. And I would add, so Canada is so strong in AI. We're a world leader. We're also strong in robotics. That used to be a story of the Canada Arm and MDA, and that story continues, but we've added in many more technology developers and real leading robotics experts. So taking those things together, AI and robotics, we're creating easily deployable, easily programmable robotics that are much more capable of working really closely with humans. Industry 5.0 is, of course, bringing humanity into the manufacturing sector and into technology, and robotics and AI together, what we're calling physical AI, that's a new term, is really going to enable that. And we do see Canada as being a potential leader in that space.
Okay, thank you so much. Another question from Timothy. Do you think the recent geopolitical pivot away from the US will accelerate digitization in Canadian manufacturing or slow it? Interesting question, and everyone is talking about it and wondering, what are your perspectives?
I'll jump in. It's definitely going to increase the competition that manufacturers have been feeling increasing for years. I think it's going to increase supports. One trend we're seeing is that we're less focused right now on bringing in leading edge technology and doing experimentations. We're a lot more focused on bringing in technologies that are developed, that are proven, and that can make really great impacts for the business really quickly. So in that sense, I think we're just going to start to see that accelerate, and we've benefited from this.
Okay. Thank you so much, Christy. I think the next question is for you, Eric. Out of the 5 industries surveyed, which industry is investing the most in AI and other digital technologies? And this question is from Hamza.
Yeah, I think the industries that tend to be more well capitalized would do the most investing. So I think automotive, despite some uncertainties, aerospace, there's more money to invest in AI, as well as biomanufacturing are moving quickly towards it.
Okay, thank you. Next question is from Sheena. Did you hear anything about what types of training employers and employees need to support technology adoption? I guess it's addressed to you, Peter.
This is a great question, and it's not a simple answer. Mostly because there's so many different types of technologies that are available to adopt. So it depends on what the company wants to do. Is it adopting AI? Is it adopting IoT? Is it cloud computing? Is it a combination of those? So I think we have to really get specific. I think if we just do a general training around any specific, I guess, technologies, it might not be the right way to go. The other thing is, where are you in terms of your technology adoption pathway or roadmap? Are you at this beginning stages or later stages? Also, what types of employees are you trying to train? Is it the engineers, the workforce? And there's so many different variables. So I guess there's the short answer is I think you have to be very specific. So set up a project around what technology you want to adopt, and then start targeting the training for that specific project and for the specific employees that need adoption. But in general, if you want just to elevate the actual digital technology literacy, I guess, is get a baseline of digital literacy across the board, so that everybody's at least a fundamental level, and then you can specify in terms of what kind of technologies and what level you need to get to, depending on the employee.
Okay, thank you so much, Peter. And I want to go back to the questions that we received during registration. So one of the questions from Gary Shah. Gary is asking how to find new staff to facilitate a digital adoption process. Eric, maybe you can share your insights and answer this question.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So a great potential place to find new staff is campus hiring graduates from universities who can bring their learnings that they've updated knowledge on digital technology, but often lack that real world context or that manufacturing and business context. Co-op students and co-op programs can also be useful for this. Some of the manufacturers we talked to actually found bringing in interns or co-op students or practicum placement students from local colleges or universities to be very beneficial, to bring in their knowledge and, just get the creative juices flowing out of their experienced colleagues. One of the things that was stressed by one employer we talked to is how important it is to when you bring in when you bring in co-op students, is to structure your co-op program to give the students a platforms to provide those suggestions and have that make them feel that degree of safety and openness, like their ideas we're interested in receiving those ideas. So students aren't just like, feeling they have to keep their head down and keep their mouth shut and just work or just go get everyone coffee, kind of classic stereotype internship stuff, but really make them feel part of the team and really put in processes in place to get their suggestions and their feedback and bring in some new ideas.
Okay, thank you so much. And I'm checking, being mindful of time. It's 2:26 Eastern time. So we're at time right now. Thank you so much for this discussion. Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you, Peter, Christy, and Eric. Thank you for your insights today. And thank you all the attendees for joining and bringing excellent questions for discussion. We really appreciate your time. And if we didn't get to your question live, we will reach out to you in a follow-up. So we'll be follow up with the presentation recording as well as link to the summary report and roadmaps when we launch them. We expect to publish the reports within the next 2 weeks. So stay alert. And as a reminder, as you exit the webinar, there will be a short exit survey, which you can use to submit additional feedback. And your feedback is really important for us, and we'll use it to improve the future sessions. To mention, the survey is anonymous, and if you submit additional questions and would like to receive a response, please write your email in the field so we can get back to you. Thank you again. Have a great rest of the week, and thank you for being here, and be safe.